Hey, it's Billy Holmes, Holmes I Ride and Cycles. In today's episode, we get the steering box completed with the steering link from here to here. Let's get going. All right, in order to do this job, we went ahead and got on Borgeson's website and ordered a couple of universal steering joints, as well as a telescoping collapsible steering shaft. For the steering column, we went ahead and got a 3/4 inch by 36 spline, and then that goes down to a 1 inch double D. And for the steering box, we did a 3/4 inch double D to a 3/4 inch 30 spline for the steering box. That should be the same for these 68, 69, 70, 72 C10s. But go ahead and check, it's really easy. Just measure the shaft and count splines if you have to. But this is what we're gonna need today. These parts here are stainless steel and they have a little bit of coating on them, so we're not gonna mess with them, put them on and they will be fine. They shouldn't rust or do anything like that. This steering rod only comes in basically kind of like just a regular steel that has some type of shipping coating on it. So we'll go ahead and clean that up. Once we cut it down to length, we'll put a coat of paint on that, and that will keep that from rusting. But these right here, they come in raw steel, which you'd have to paint or powder coat. They come in stainless steel, which these are, and they also come in like polished and chrome and different things like that. So for this truck, we opted for the stainless steel. They come with a couple of set screws and a little fortune cookie looking direction sheet there. So that should be all that we need. We'll do some marking and drilling. I wanted to apologize about the wind. We got some storms coming in, and you can probably hear the doors just chattering away. That's another hint too. If you ever build a shop, we opted for roll-up doors, and they are horrible in the wind. So if you live in a windy area, I probably wouldn't get the actual roll-up doors. I would get the more traditional ones that go up and kind of over. We didn't do that because we wanted as much light in here as possible, and a lot of times when you have those doors that go this way, they cover up your roof lights and it's no bueno. But the downside of these roll-up doors is in the wind they chatter a lot, so we're gonna have to figure out what we can do about that. But anywho, let's go. All right, let's take a look at the U-joint a little bit closer. You can see here it's got Borgeson and the part number on it. This one, of course, is stainless steel, like I mentioned. On this side is the spline. It's 30 spline here, 3/4 inch, and this is 3/4 inch, what they call double D. It's basically a circle that has 2 notches in it, and a couple of set screws here with some locking nuts on it. So what we're gonna do first on the steering box is we're gonna put this on here with the spline down onto the steering box shaft like this. We're gonna mark this set screw hole with a punch, pull this off, drill a little hole in order for this set screw to set down into, to keep it, the splines are gonna keep it from spinning, but to kind of keep it from pulling in and out. You don't want to drill the hole with the steering U-joint on the actual shaft. You wanna go ahead and mark it and then pull it off. Another thing to know is your steering shaft here, hopefully you can see my finger going there, you don't want it to go all the way in. You want it to bottom out right here on this lip lengthwise when it goes in, because as you can see, you need your U-joint to move depending on the angle that you have. Ours is always going to be pretty straight, but any custom applications, this might be at this type of angle at any given time. So you don't want the shaft to go too far in here. It will bind. You can see my pinky. It will bind when it tries to turn at a hard radius like that. So you want to get it to this line here where it sits flush with it like that, and go ahead and mark it. This side here is the 3/4 inch double D, and this is the telescoping steering shaft. You can see it already has a hole here. So one of them will go on until the hole, and then the other one will mark here. We will drill a little small hole so it indents, and then we can go from there. All right, so let's go ahead and mark this side one. We're gonna slide this on here. And like I said, we're going to get it where I put a white towel back here. You can see the rod there. You don't want it sitting out like this. You want it basically flush there. And we're going to put a set screw in on the hole that's already drilled. Just loosely. There you go. It's got a little bit of play, as you can see here. We're gonna bottom it out so it sits flush here. We're gonna give this a little kind of a tight down there. And now we can, if you have a marker that's long enough, you can use a marker to mark this drill hole. If not, you can get a punch and punch it. We're gonna go ahead and remove this now. Back this out. And then there's your hole. So we're gonna go ahead, get a drill bit, and we're not gonna drill all the way through on this particular hole. We're just gonna just put a little bit of a hole in there, kind of an indent, in order for that set screw to set down in there. All right, so you can see that we went ahead and got that drilled. Very easy. We just set it with a punch and got a drill bit and put about 1/8 of an inch indentation on it, just in order for this set screw right here to bite down into. But it slides through. We'll show you all now. You can see the hole in there. Get the set screw and it'll tighten down in there just enough to bite it. We'll go ahead and tighten the other one over here with the hole that was already drilled into this rod from the factory, and there we go. So no more slipping in and out. It's not going to rotate this way due to the way this rod is shaped, this double D rod, but this is very important. If you put it on a circular shaft that has no splines, nothing like that, you really have to drill in the holes where these set screws are so they can actually bite in. So that's really important. What we'll do now is take this off. We're going to run this U-joint over to the steering box and do the exact same thing with the steering box portion of it. Instead of the double D, the steering box is splined, but it works the same way. We basically slide it on. Well, there's the spline. We'll slide it on. We'll get it to the depth that we want it. We'll mark this with a marker or a punch. We'll pull it out. We'll drill a little indentation hole like we have here, and then put it on for the final time and set that screw down. All right, so I know it's kind of hard to see in here. It's not the best lighting, but here is the original shaft for the steering. It's the spline, and it basically has a groove here on the top of it. This doesn't really matter. This is splined all the way around, so you can put it really anywhere. But I went ahead and rotated it where this set screw will be in line with the groove. So what we'll do now is we'll put it on here. We will put it back down to the right length that it needs to be, and we'll just punch a little mark, pull this back off, drill this, and then put it back on for the final time, hopefully, and should be good to go. Okay, so we're on the steering column side of it. You can see this is a 36 spline, and it has a little groove here for the factory type of locking mechanism on it. This U-joint here, we're going to go ahead and place the set screw right in the middle of that flat spot. And once that's drilled, we can turn it. We can still turn this left and right in order to line up the double D rod. If you are running a circle type steering shaft, you're going to have to look up what the steering phasing is and what that means. It's basically what these joints here are in relation with the joints down there. Really important. But with the double D here. They went ahead and took the guessing out of it and the measurements out of it and everything, and it actually phases itself. So just keep that in mind. We're going to go ahead and set this to the depth that we need it right here, mark it with a punch, and drill it just like we did down there on the steering box. Okay, so we went ahead and drilled the indent hole. We'll line this up, go right where the hole is, put the set screw in temporarily. We'll leave that locking nut a little bit loose. Okay, so again, just like on the bottom, the spline keeps it from rotating left and right, slipping, and the indentation that we just drilled keeps it from going in and out. We'll go ahead, we'll Loctite all of this stuff and lock down this locking nut once we're done. But right now we're just doing it basically just kind of mock up so we can get the steering shaft cut to length. All right, in order to get the measurement on that, it's pretty self-explanatory. The most important thing you need to do or remember is this shaft that goes on the inside. Again, you don't want it to go too far in. You want it to line flush with right where the cutout is for it on both sides. So on this type of deal, you can always cut it a little bit longer, try to check fit it, and then cut a little bit more and cut a little bit more, cut a little bit more if you need to. If once you cut it too much, there is no going back on it. So that's just the most important thing, is to remember not to allow that rod to go too far up in here. So we're going to measure right at the bottom of this horseshoe, and we're going to go down and measure the same part on the bottom side of it. So we're going to line this portion up down here at the bottom with the portion up here at the top. And it looks like it's going to be 15 1/4, possibly 15 1/8, but we'll go ahead and go 15 1/4. We'll place it in there, and then we can always cut a little bit more if we need to. Back over here at the shaft, the one important thing here is to remember, before you measure and cut, you want to pull this all the way out. You want it completely extended out to the length that you're going to run it in the truck. That way, if something does happen, you get in a wreck, this has the full ability to collapse itself all the way in and not collapse just an inch or two. So just make sure. A lot of times when you get them shipped, they'll come like this, and if you cut there, you just minimized how much it can actually collapse. So pull this all the way out, just like that, and then we'll measure from the very end to here, 15 1/4. We'll cut the 15 1/4 on the, what I would call the female side of it, and then go ahead, collapse it, put it in your steering joints, lengthen it, and if it's the correct size, we're good to go. We can paint it. We'll drill these little set screws here, and we'll be done. All right, we got it back from cutting it. I did put a little edge on here just in order for it to slide in a little bit better. I didn't want it to be a hard cut, so put just a little bit of a bevel on it all the way around, and cleaned out the inside. We'll go ahead and mock this up. If it's the correct length, then we'll mark those 2 set screws, one of them being a hole all the way through it on this side. The screw will go all the way through and bottom out on the back side here, and then the one right here on the smaller edge, I guess the rounded edge, is just a little bit of an indent in order for the smaller set screw to set in here. All right, so in order to do this, I'm just going to collapse this bar just a little bit, in order to be able to fit in here. I'm going to go ahead and set this one with the set screws. So it basically holds it for me on both sides. Okay, now that's locked in place where it needs to be. And then we can go ahead and extend this. Let me pull out the set screws real quick. Like I said, this one here is the full length one. And this double D, what they call these, this cut middle steering shaft, makes things a lot easier with lining everything up, because it can only go basically one or two ways. When you're dealing with splined or just a round stock, which can go multiple ways, that's when that phasing and everything comes in. But this rod here, as you can see, can only go one or two ways. So we're going to extend this. There we go. Okay. We're going to check the depth. It looks to be fine. It looks to be about a 1/16 inch from being too far in, and we're completely expanded here. So we are good to go. I'm going to go ahead and mark this these two set screw holes and indent one, drill one all the way through. We'll pull it out to do that, and we should be good to go. Find the center of the hole. Put you a couple marks on there. And then same with the bottom. Again, this bottom one will be drilled all the way through. Okay. We'll collapse this. And we should be, make sure, yep, everything transferred over. So we'll pull this shaft back out, do our final drilling, one more test fit, make sure everything's good to go, pull it off one more time to clean it and paint it, and we'll be done. All right, final, hopefully, final little test run. We'll set this back in here. I guess the true test is if this long one will go all the way in, because the other ones are just kind of little dents. This one, your hole has to be right on in order for this to go through. All right, so we got everything buttoned up. The shaft is good to go. We will take this back off, clean it, and paint it. But steering shaft's all lined up. Everything's good. And we rotated it a couple times, and everything turned out great. So we'll pull it back off one more time and slap a coat of paint on here and do the final install. All right, while the rod is drying from painting, I'm going to go ahead and start putting the thread locker on all of the set screws for the U-joints to the actual box and the steering shaft, or the steering column. I know it has a lock nut, but I'm just going to run a little bit of blue Loctite on here and then go install them. Now that I've got these set screws in, I'm going to go back and tighten the locking nuts. Go ahead and torque these things down to the old German torque, good and tight. All right, so these are officially on, hopefully now forever. They are Loctite and nut there. This one, of course, is spline when we put that little set screw in there. This one is spline with that little set screw, locking nut, and Loctite. So we should be good to go on not ever coming off. Now we'll wait, like my dog's doing. Oh hell, he heard me. We got this thing dry in here. We didn't put it outside because it's sprinkling here and there, but once that rod's dry, we'll go ahead and install it, and we will be done. All right, guys, it's a new day. We finally got some nice weather. All of that bad weather blew in yesterday evening, so we just gave this rod a one night of basically dry time, and we're ready to put it back on. I'll show you kind of what it looks like here. See there, we just put some black paint on it, got it extended all the way out. It was just, like I said, it was just regular steel. It's not stainless or anything like that, so we didn't want anything to rust. So we're going to go ahead and take this off, start fitting it up, and get the final bolts in. All right, so we got the rod here. Let's go ahead and get this going and situated. We're going to tighten this bottom part down first. Of course, we'll put some Loctite on it. Make sure it's all lined up with the holes that we drilled. Man, I swear I got the world's runniest Loctite. This stuff's going everywhere. All right, sorry about the arm being in the way, but we got that one taken care of. And now this one, you got to collapse it just a little bit. Make sure that we're lined up. This one will be the one that goes all the way through. So I'm just going to put some Loctite about middle where it's going to rest. Okay, and the last one. There we go. We'll torque down this lock nut. All right, and that is it. Go ahead and get this Loctite out of here before I get everything else blue. And then I will show you what we got going on here. All right. All done and complete. Looks really good. Again, we painted the rod black. If you got a stainless one or a chrome one, you don't have to do that. The universal joints are stainless, so that's why they're not coated. But pretty simple. It is collapsing, and it's easier to put in, especially when it can slide in like that. Fits on both sides. Don't have to kind of either loosen up the steering column and move it back, or the steering box. You can just collapse the actual steering shaft, put it in, and you're done. So that's a pretty easy job. All in all, if you got everything lined out, besides the painting part, takes maybe an hour to put in tops. But that is... Our steering is finally complete. It is all one mechanism now. So all we need to do is get a steering column, or I'm sorry, a steering wheel, and the column itself will be finished here. and that is it. It'll be able to steer and turn all on its own, and make moving this thing a lot easier. All right, guys, I appreciate y'all tuning in. That was a hopefully a super short and sweet, to the point type video. We got the steering column and the shaft completely done and finished out. Pretty simple, as you saw. All you need is a couple of measurements of your steering column, shaft with the spline and the diameter of it, as well as the steering box. Then you'd measure and get the rod that's closest to you. You don't want to buy a rod that's 3 feet too long, of course. So buy the rod that fits the closest that you got, cut it, make a couple of dimples, and it's done and it's ready to go. Pretty simple, pretty easy thing to do. Like I said, it takes maybe 45 minutes. Before I go, I wanted to show off our new shirts that I'm wearing here. You can see the HHRC logo. We're calling this our champion shirt. Hopefully you understand why we call it our champion shirt. It's Holmes Hot Rods and Cycles on the back, and again, HHRC up front. It's a Gildan, it's a 50-50, so it's not going to shrink on you and it's not going to be too hot. This shirt is $35, and that is completely shipped to your door, everything all in. You can message us on Facebook, Instagram, here on YouTube, and then you can go to our Big Cartel website at Holmes Hot Rods and Cycles, and you can order however many shirts you got. We even got 3X's for the big boys. So if you like the shirt, please, again, here, please support us. Buy a shirt, buy a hat, buy some stickers, whatever you see on there at our Big Cartel website. I'll post the link in the YouTube description, and hopefully you can get it in time for the holidays. So I appreciate it, guys. Thank you all for watching this. My name is Billy Holmes. I'm with Holmes Hot Rod and Cycles, and we'll see y'all next time.